What up fam, and welcome back to the Fit Man Cook Kitchen. I'm Kevin, and today we are proving the sheet pan system from part 1 actually works. Here's a quick refresher on the core concepts. The cut and the density of the ingredient determine the bucket, not the protein. Even larger pieces of seafood could require longer baking time. So we're gonna build the pan with the same bucket ingredients called friends, and everything will finish together. 3 buckets, 3 recipes, fast, medium, and slow. All right fam, let's get into it. Bucket 1 is the fast bucket. The fast bucket is mostly seafood. Seafood is leaner, so it cooks fast. Shrimp, salmon, whitefish, halibut. This bucket also includes smaller pieces of chicken like breast tenders. Today, we are doing a 10-minute sheet pan meal using some jumbo shrimp, and we're gonna lean all the way into those Asian flavors. After peeling and deveining the shrimp, remember you gotta pat them dry. Seafood holds water, and if you skip this step, you'll steam them instead of searing them. Dry surface every time. Red bell pepper is sliced thin. The butternut squash usually belongs in the slow bucket, but we are dicing it to 1/2 inch so it cooks really fast. The sugar snap peas are going on whole. They are going to char under the broiler, but that's the whole point. Restaurants char veggies on purpose all the time. So you're gonna get that green bean flavored char that adds real depth, so just embrace it. Toss the shrimp in oil and smoky sriracha, and toss the veggies in a bit of oil and or black pepper. Smoky sriracha has sugar in it, so it caramelizes fast. It'll burn if you skimp on the oil, so add enough oil to cover the shrimp so the sugar sear instead of scorch. Add a single layer on the pan. Don't crowd the pan. We're not roasting, we are broiling. So the top or middle rack, broiler on high, 8 to 10 minutes. Toss everything with some sesame oil and some teriyaki sauce right on the hot pan. You could either enjoy it as is or place it back under the broiler for about another minute or so for a stickier glaze. Plate it, sesame seeds and green onions as garnish. A 10-minute meal wonder. Hey fam, before we get back to today's video, a quick pause. Smoky Sriracha is one of the most popular of my 5 no salt added blends, and they're what I'm using on every single pan recipe today. You can grab the spice blends over at spices.shop, and if this video is helping you, hit that subscribe button and join the family. All right, now back to the video and on to the medium bucket. Bucket number 2 is the medium bucket, 20 to 30 minutes. Foods like meatballs, boneless chicken thighs, pork tenderloin, bell peppers, onion wedges, cherry tomatoes, Brussels sprouts that are halves, these are all friends. Today's medium bucket recipe is a meatball sheet pan dinner finished with some Orzo. Ground beef, 85-15 fat content. For a 20-minute cook, this is a sweet spot. Leaner dries out fast because the fat doesn't have the time to baste the meat. And fattier renders too much and floods the pan. 85-15 holds the shape, stays juicy, and renders just enough fat to flavor the tomatoes when they burst. We're mixing the beef with breadcrumbs, egg, and Land Herb Garlic blend. Roll into meatballs about the size of a golf ball. And onto the pan with Campari tomatoes whole. These will break down into more sauce, and they're easier to peel if you want a smoother sauce. Now I'm keeping this tray simple today. We're just doing meatballs and Campari tomatoes. The peppers, they're gonna go on the stovetop in a minute and you'll see why. 350 degrees, 20 minutes. Now this is a lower temp than the system baseline because meatballs dry out at a higher heat. We want a piping hot skillet, no oil, just the bell pepper diced thick, and get a hard char for 45 minutes. Don't move it around too much. We're gonna bring a pot of salted water to a boil. In goes gluten-free Orzo, 8 to 10 minutes, and you can see the skin slowly peeling off the tomatoes, so you can peel it if desired. Then use the back of a spatula or a fork to smash the tomato to create chunks of tomato sauce. Toss in the charred peppers, pour a jar of marinara on top, add the Orzo, and toss everything together right there. Our sheet pan in this scenario acts as the engine, not the whole plate, so you can keep some things separate if needed. This is spaghetti night, sheet pan version done. Bucket 3 is the slow bucket, 30 to 45 minutes. Examples of this are going to be bone-in chicken, whole russet potatoes, large root veggies, winter squash, cabbage wedges. Today's slow bucket recipe though, we're doing bone-in chicken with some Steakhouse potato wedges, sweet potato and russet. And this is the mistake I mentioned at the top. In part 1, we established it's not the protein that decides the bucket, it's the cut, rather the ingredient density. So I said a 1-inch cut of a russet potato goes in the medium bucket. For a slow bucket, the cut has to be bigger because the cook time is longer. So let's see what happens when I cut the immediate bucket size and put them in the slow bucket recipe. Mayo on the chicken instead of oil. Mayo is a better binder here. Spices stick better to it and the skin crisp gets harder. I'm going for a Southwest barbecue vibe, so it's going to be the Gold Rush barbecue with a pinch of Taco Titan mixed in. The Steakhouse potatoes are going to get a Papas Bravas vibe. Salt, pepper, olive oil, and a little Taco Titan tossed through. Half the tray had the 1-inch cubes, that's the medium bucket, and the other half, the thick wedges, that's the slow bucket cut. One more important note, before the sheet pan goes in, I'm putting a sheet pan rack on top. The skin on bone-in chicken gives off a lot of liquid as it cooks. So fat renders from the skin, juices release from the meat, and without that rack, the liquid can pull around the potatoes and they can all just become soggy. So the rack elevates both the chicken and the potatoes. So the skin on both catches air on all sides and crisps much better. When you know an ingredient gives off a lot of liquid, use a rack inside of the pan. 400 degrees, 30 minutes. All right, let's take a look. Flesh all the way through, creamy from top to bottom. That's what a slow bucket cut looks like at slow bucket cook time. Now the 1-inch cube, it's almost hollow. The middle part is burned out. It's crispy on the outside, dried up, and empty in the middle. Now some people like that texture in fries, fair, but this isn't intentional. This is what happens when the cut doesn't match the cook time. Let's plate this bad boy. The bone-in chicken is cooked perfectly. It's white and juicy, and it pairs wonderfully with the mixed Steakhouse potatoes of russet and sweet potato. That's the slow bucket. That's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Get the full recipes on fitmencook.com, and you can grab my spice blends on spices.shop. And if you missed it, catch up on the sheet pan system part 1 here on YouTube. Remember, please subscribe so you don't miss out on more recipes and wellness cooking hacks, and share this channel with a friend who you think could benefit from this content. All right, y'all, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.